Number 10, authorize the county's pledge of non-tax revenues to support the issuance of an economic development revenue bonds of Lorain County Port Authority to finance commercial facilities and public infrastructure with the county. Authorize the execution of cooperative agreement relating to the bonds with the Port Authority. Authorize and approve an official statement as necessary, and authorize and approve related matters, and this is for the Black River Landing in Lorain.
Move to approve.
Second.
Discussion.
Discussion. Mr. Miller.
Thank you, commissioners. This is again another project that the Port Authority is undertaking to improve the lives of Lorain County. You recall we did a very similar ask for the commissioners back in August when we did the Fairgrounds Exposition Center. This is the same type of agreement and the same type of arrangement. I've got the people from Lorain Port Authority here, and they'd like to talk about their project a little bit. So come on up, Tiffany.
Great. Good morning, commissioners. Thanks for having us here today.
Please state your name and address, please.
Yes, of course. Tiffany McClelland, Executive Director of the Lorain Port Authority at 319 Black River Lane in Lorain, Ohio. So today I have a quick presentation for you all to discuss the Black River Landing Amphitheater project. I know that most of you have seen this material before, so I will keep it brief, but by all means, if you have questions along the way, feel free to stop me and we can dive into things in more detail. So before you see the Black River Landing Amphitheater project, and we're very excited about this endeavor to take Black River Landing from the previous design that it was built in the early 2000s into the next phase of development for the downtown community. Right here, you're going to see the proposed site plan, and what we're talking about and asking for in this bond issuance to support this project is for us to break ground on 1, 2, and 3. So as you can see, there's an entire master plan redevelopment for Black River Landing that is an 18-phase project that ultimately will be piecemealed as funding comes in. But today, we are truly just talking about 1, 2, and 3. So what that entails is this permanent stage amphitheater. The new structure of the bowl is the number 3 here, and the 2 is a green room facility. So in each of these, what this does is it starts to lay the foundation for us to be able to have more a site more ready for the next phase of what Black River Landing is. As you all know, you can take a look at the success that this facility has had. I'm sure most people in the community have attended Black River Landing in some form or fashion for an event, whether that be the International Festival or Rockin' on the River, which is depicted here. And when you take a look at the festival ground and you see the thousands of people that are coming to the festival grounds every week during the summer from Memorial Day through Labor Day, you start to understand that the capacity for the site and the events that we're having here have started to hit limitations. So the Board of Directors of the Lorain Port Authority decided to move forward in investing in the facility for the future. We realize that with the current canopy that you see here, this is not a permanent structure top, so we're not able to actually have the infrastructure for all of the equipment that we need. There's no green room facility here, so that limits the acts that we can have come in. The new stage, the new investment into this facility starts to change the scope of the things that we can do at this facility, ultimately changing what we're going to be able to do at Black River Landing from the current events and activities that we have to not only adding capacity of new things at the venue, but also expanding to the opportunities that we haven't been able to have in the past. So you can start to see the renderings of the permanent amphitheater that we'll be developing. You see here the permanent stage top, and with that comes the infrastructure capabilities to have more of that stuff in place. It cuts labor costs, makes it more efficient for us to have events, and then makes it so the turnover of the site is available. It's really difficult at this point in time when you're starting setup at 9 a.m. and ending teardown at 2 a.m. to flip that site over and have an event the next day. So this is going to take away a lot of that and ultimately set us up for success for the future. In this photo, you can also see to the left-hand side that wall, that gray wall, is actually the side of the green room facility here. So that will provide the opportunity for us to actually have some acts that otherwise maybe not come to your facility simply because you don't have all of the infrastructure they need. if you take a look at this rendering, it gives you a really good idea. If you're standing on the bridge looking down at our site, a lot of this already exists. All of those pavilion infrastructure and the train station are already in place. So you see the permanent stage top again, the more of a bowl structure. If you've ever been to Black River Landing, you know that our site is pretty flat at this moment. So we are not going to do permanent seating. There will be the capability to have that if and when an act or an event needs it, but it will start to structure it so it's in a bowl fashion so that the vantage point and viewing of the site is a lot better. And then off to the right, this rendering gives you a really good idea of the green room facility that'll be put in place leading into the permanent stage top facility there. When you take a look at the project, we have been working on this for many years. Back in 2021, our board of directors authorized us to move forward with selecting an architect team. So we hired on Bialaski and Associates in conjunction with Robert Matchke, started down the path of getting some architectural drawings and really deciding the entire scope of what we wanted to do here. We've moved over through the years and getting all of those construction documents together, working through the fundraising, figuring out the project budget on all of this, and ultimately went out for an initial bid to get an idea of what the project cost would be in 2024. As we continued on with our fundraising efforts through that, we then purchased Rockin' on the River in the fall of 2024. This was a monumental moment for our agency. In the past, the structure of the festival sites had been just rental structure. We would hand the site over to some private individual to run an event. And we've looked at that model and decided to switch it. In that case, we went forward with the purchase of Rockin' on the River, so we will actually be running that. Our board of directors has invested in an operations director, and that's Tom Brown here with us today, and he will be the one overseeing all of the operations at our site. So not only the Rockin' on the River, but all of the other events. Stay tuned. I hear some announcements are coming, maybe even later today, on some other events that will be happening at our grounds just this year, let alone the opportunities that we'll have going into the future. So with that, we are re-engaging our construction manager team, that's the Whiting Turner Construction Agency, to rebid this project here in June. We will be having a discussion on the max GMP dollars that we will be moving forward to break ground in September of 2025 with an ultimate ribbon cutting opening May of 2026 so that we can start our season. We are very adamant that because it's an outdoor festival grounds and concert venue that we could not lose a summertime season. So we're going to ensure that we end the season in September, and the second that we end our event season, we'll start under construction, go through the winter, and then open back up in May for the next construction season. To give you an idea of where we're at on our budget, your support here is giving us the capability to move forward in this grand scheme of the project. So our total project cost is just shy of $11 million. This project, as you can imagine, between COVID times and all of the different changes in the economy over the years, certainly has grown in budget. But by all means, the funding sources we have and the commitments by all of the different agencies, including yourself, in committing dollars to this project are going to make this possible. So you can see all of the dollars committed, and ultimately what we're looking at here is we have over $9 million with the bond that you're going to hopefully support us on today. With that, we'll be able to break ground at a very minimum on our Phase 1A, which means we'll have our permanent stage top facility. With that, we do have an entire team working with us on the philanthropy side. Our fundraising committee, led by Ben Norton and Bob Campana, are specifically looking at trying to raise what our goal of $3 million from the philanthropic side of things. We already do have a commitment of over $650 on that, but we do need to hit that entire goal to be able to break ground on the entire Phase 1 that I talked about, which was that 1, 2, and 3 in the diagram presented. So even without the extra dollars committed into this project, with the bond issuance and the other dollars that you see, the funding sources listed here, we'll be breaking ground at the bare minimum to get that permanent stage top, which is ultimately the necessity that we have at this point. Because the current structure we have that will go up for this season at Black River Landing is at the end of its lifespan. That structure cannot go up again in 2026. So we will break ground at the end of this season and move forward with getting that permanent stage top. And as more dollars come in, we'll continue to add to this project. So with that, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
What can we say?
Right. I'll ask Jim questions.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, Mr. Commissioner.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to welcome aboard as the new director, I guess, of Lorain City Port, because Jim Miller represents the Lorain County Port.
Correct.
So therefore, the Lorain City Port was not allowed to bond this out, which is why they came to us. Therefore, some questions I had was the security. Did we?
Sure.
Because my thing was this: if the county port authority kind of threw this out there, saying, "Are we going to be in a first lien position on the property?" Did that happen?
Yes, the documents is drafted, put the bond holders, the trustee in a first position on the property and the marina.
I know, and so as a water guy, I thought, okay, this sounds like a very solid deal. That's number one. Number two, the financial plan that shows on the bottom right-hand corner shows the Lorain County Visitors Bureau participating at $750,000. What that was is that's your bed tax that people pay, in which we have close to over $2 million in that account, and that's a 5-year commitment, similar to what the Visitors Bureau did with the Lorain Fair Board.
Yes.
And so that, I just want the public to be aware that $750,000 is a sponsorship, that we're sponsoring the events and the stage, whatever you call it, the amphitheater.
The amphitheater.
Yeah.
Black River Landing Amphitheater.
Right.
Yes.
And so I just want to make sure, and then that the $995,000 from Lorain County, those are ARPA dollars.
Yep.
So those are not general funds. So what we're talking about today isn't general fund money. What we're talking about is this is over the last couple of years of $995 from ARPA,
Right.
which is, this is the kind of infrastructure that money was supposed to be used for. And I'm not going to go another 10 minutes on that, because I've done that before on other money that was wasted. Number two, your bed tax of people visiting us, we're using that to help promote this county. And what the Lorain City Port Authority is doing, and what their board is, as a county visitors bureau, is trying to learn, is how you guys gather that data, and you know where people are eating, you know where people are staying, where they're spending the night. And so you guys, when you came to the Lorain Visitors Bureau meeting, you were very well prepared on how we draw people into this county, which is what that bed tax is for. And with the renaissance that's going on in the city of Lorain and all the work they're doing, I just feel like this is the icing on the cake. And it's just, I'm just glad to see the transition from Tom, to you. It was very smooth, and I commend the fact that before I took office, the first thing I did was Connie Carr introduced me to Tom. I've known Tom, and there was a lot of animosity. There was a lot of fiefdoms going on, and we took care of that at our first meeting. And I love the fact that here you guys are today, together, putting something good together for the county, for the city, and I'm just proud to see this over the years, how you guys have worked together,
And I would like to point out that what we're talking about today is a cooperative agreement that backs up the payments from the Lorain Port Authority. So this bond will be paid by the Lorain Port Authority, and the financial plan they have is sufficient to do it. But the county allowing to back up the payments as they are, allowed this deal to be rated by Moody's as AA3, and allowed us to sell the bonds at a much lower interest rate. Will allow us to sell the bonds at a much lower interest rate than they would have had the county not come up to the plate. So I want to thank you for that.
Well, that's why when you secured it with lakefront property, I'm like, that's a pretty good security.
No.
I know you've been working on this for quite a while. I was part of a little bit of it while I was on the Lorain County Port Authority. I just want to say, nice job, nice work, and you're very thorough with the documentation and securing it for the county as well as the city. Nice job.
And then also, I do just want to point out to you that obviously with any guarantee like this, it's subject to annual appropriation by the commissioners. So we thank you, and we hope to thank you in years to come.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
I'd like to add a little bit of comment on the global perspective. A lot of times are tough for a lot of people, and they could look at a project like this and think that, this might not be the right use for taxpayer dollars and so forth, although the county's dollars and the city's dollars are ARPA dollars. But at the end of the day, we did a strategic plan, and the people of Lorain County identified the world that they would like to see in the years to come, and they would like to see certain industries return to Lorain County and provide opportunities for residents, as well as we need to attract additional people. Some of the economic development plans that Jobs Ohio and the state of Ohio plan to bring to our state, we are in a prime position, but we have a little bit of improvement to do in a number of areas. And so what the commissioners and the management team are focusing on is providing a multi-dimensional way to put Lorain County in a position to take advantage of the growth that's coming as these jobs return to the United States. We have one handicap, and that is when you're going to compete with California and bring things back from California, we're short about 6 months of California weather. So these types of activities are very important to attracting new workers, because as the industry decided, the number one criteria they look for is a friendly environment with government to relocate, and the second one is workforce development is their number one issue. We all know about shortage of workers and the need to train for new industries, and in order to retain those workers, quality of life is essential. And so projects like this, the go-kart track in Lorain, and the fairgrounds, those are things that improve the quality of life for the county, no matter where you live, and they make Lorain County a destination. We're trying to get people to come to Lorain County for a reason, not just drive through it. So as we go forward with these things, keep in mind that global perspective, that all these pieces fit together: the sewers, the workforce development, the reforms of government, and the investments in the culture and quality of life in Lorain County. So I hope everybody appreciates that, and 5 years from now, when some of us aren't here, I hope they look back and say we did the right thing 5 years ago. Thank you, Teresa.
Anything further? Commissioner Moore?
Aye.
Commissioner Gallagher?
Aye.
Commissioner Dell?
Aye.